So, folks, we are joined by Dr. Andrew Kadar today, and he is a graduate of Yale Medical School and with many years of experience treating patients with heart disease at the Cedar Sinai Hospital. And his first reaction to chest pain was genial. After all, he was athletic and a former college gymnast and a runner, and he soon realized that he needed to get medical intervention. And many don't in time and pay the price with a heart attack and often a deadly one. He had surgery for a condition referred to as the widow maker, but managed to reclaim the life he wanted, including going back to work as an anesthesiologist. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, surviving the unexpected, a doctor's journey through resilience and recovery, here's an exciting twist. Let us tickle our guest's brain first. So, Dr. Andrew, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few. I'd love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. Shall we do it?
Sure.
Okay, here comes the first word: curiosity.
Makes the world go round.
Invention.
Leads to new wonderful things.
Future.
Hopefully great.
Book.
Well, for that, I have to say getting better. The book that I just finished, I've been involved in that for a while now. So that's the first one that comes to mind for sure.
Got it. Yeah, I know it is a moment of pride and all the hard work that you have put in that is coming.
Although
hands is a great feeling.
Although I have to say, Abraham Verghese Cutting for Stone is another one that comes to mind because I just recently had a chance to meet him at a book conference.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And next word is movie.
School of Rock. It's funny.
Okay. Next word is aliens.
What kind?
Universe.
Vast and hopefully wonderful.
Leadership.
Requires strength.
Health.
Leads to life.
And the last one is success.
Achieving goals.
Amazing. I loved all the thoughtful responses there. And Dr. Andrew, before I formally welcome you to the show, let me welcome the audience. So, folks, you have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life, but also to your career. And thank you so much for tuning in. And Dr. Andrew, hearty welcome to TGV. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
So thank you so much for
being here.
And thank you so much for being part of our journey. I'm super excited to start our conversation. So we'll get the ball rolling. We'll begin with your success mantra. So please share with us top 3 things that have attributed to your success so far.
You know, my answer to that is I think the answer for anybody's success, which is making some good decisions, working hard at it, and then having some luck. And I think that I can cite 2 Nobel Prize winners who gave the same answer. One was a Nobel Prize winner in physics, and a friend of mine who was in the PhD program in physics at Berkeley. At the opening lecture, he told them that in order to do well in life, in physics, you need to be very smart, which all those people were. They needed to work very hard. But even after that, you need to have some luck. And Elie Wiesel, the human rights activist and writer, also gave the same answer in surviving the Holocaust because that luck was part of the picture. So so I think for everybody's success, you need to make good decisions. You need to work hard at it, and then it's good to have a little bit of luck too.
I loved your perspective and your journey from a highly active and health conscious lifestyle to facing open heart surgery was unexpected. So what were the early symptoms or signs that led to your diagnosis, and why do you think people often overlook or downplay such warning signs?
Well, in my case, I was working out in the gym. I was on the elliptical, about a 30-degree incline near sprint. About 9 minutes into it, I started having chest pain in the center of my chest, and it went away as soon as I stopped exercising. Now, that triad, chest pain with exercise that goes away with rest, is the classical triad for the most common presentation of coronary artery disease. I knew that, but I also knew I didn't have heart disease. Yeah. So just shined it off. And I think it's people tend to not to try to deny unexpected and unwelcome news. And that happens in medicine. It happens in other situations too. People have walked into burning buildings because they just couldn't believe that that's what was happening.
Yeah,
And in the same way, people ignore obvious symptoms of a medical illness. Is it particularly if it goes against your self-image, and certainly having heart disease was radically against how I saw myself.
I got it. I think I can imagine the kind of feelings that you might have had at that point in time. And Dr. Andrew, in your book, Getting Better, you emphasize the importance of recovery as a collaborative effort involving various parties. So, can you describe how this teamwork impacted your own recovery journey?
I think the first thing you need to do is find a hospital and doctors that you can trust, because and you need to communicate with them. In my situation, there were several times when I needed to give feedback, and doctors rely on feedback. Everybody's an individual, and something that is generally not a problem for most people may be a problem for you. In my particular case, after surgery, I had a great deal of difficulty swallowing.
Yeah.
And I had this tablet for potassium, which is routinely given after heart surgery. And I had a heck of a time trying to swallow that.
Mhm.
And so I told them that, and then was able to get that removed from my medicine regimen, because it's routinely given, because it's a good thing in general. But if you have a particular hardship with it, then the equation changes, and you're better off not having it.
Yeah. So my father-in-law has also undergone open heart surgery, and recently one of my close friends has also gone through that. And I know recovering is very challenging because of those complications, right? So you mentioned about swallowing difficulty. Other than that, are there any other unexpected obstacles that you faced, and how did you navigate through them?
Well, the complications that I had are all known complications. So they're kind of, but what's unknown is who's going to have them and how severely. So
Hmm.
one of the things that was a surprise to me is I had a severe bout of hiccups. Now, hiccups are usually a minor nuisance, but there are people who've had hiccups for years, and they've even died from the diaphragm becoming so exhausted that they couldn't breathe from hiccups. The world record is that there was a farmer in Iowa who had hiccups for 68 years, and a calculated estimate is that he had 430 million hiccups. And what I had, once the drains came out, I had an attack of hiccups that was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It was hiccups on top of hiccups. I was hiccuping while I was asleep. It was just the most horrible thing. So that was one. But there are other. I think when you have a major illness, the thing to do is to expect the
Yeah.
unexpected, and each person will have somewhat different problems. And mine was swallowing. I had the hiccups. And some other routine things. I had night sweats for a long time.
Hmm.
Uh, those are a few.
Yeah.
And of course, pain. It's always
Mhm.
pain after
Mhm.
surgery like that.
Also, you have mentioned that most chest pain is not necessarily indicative of heart disease, right? So, what would be your advice to individuals who experience similar symptoms and are unsure about seeking medical attention?
There are a number of different causes. It can be from the stomach, from the esophagus, from the lungs. But I think if you have the character symptom like just come down with exercise, go away with this, particularly in the center of the chest, but it can be in the left shoulder and the going down the arm. If you
Mhm.
have the most characteristic symptoms, then I think it behooves you to seek out help. And actually, what helped me was I asked the question, what would I advise somebody else who had the symptoms that I was having?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then it became obvious. I know I didn't have heart disease. palsy, of course. But what I have to me, I would tell them, hey, get checked out, get an electrocardiogram, get a stress test.
Got it. Now I have an interesting question. Like, in your experience, do celebrities receive better or worse medical care compared to the general public? And what factors contribute to this disparity, if at all it is existing?
Everybody thinks that celebrities, rock stars get rock star care. But the
Mm.
reality is that there is a standard of care. And the standard of care, it becomes a standard of care because it works best.
Mhm.
People who expect or want something different are likely to have worse results than what's known to be best. So sometimes celebrities seek out care that's not the standard of care. And then you can get results like Elvis or Michael Jackson. They got rock star care. And I think smart celebrities seek out the same care that everybody else gets because that's what works best.
No, fair enough. All right. Also, can you share more about the surprising danger of this persistent hiccups and how it relates to broader issues of modern complications and recovery?
Okay, so there are several kinds of problems you can have. There are sort of the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns, and you know that you're going to have pain afterwards, but you don't know how much pain you're going to have. You know various other problems that can occur, but you don't know whether they'll happen to you or and how severely. So surgery in the upper abdomen or in the chest can cause hiccups, but not everybody gets them, and not everybody gets them to the same severity. I got them, and I got them and actually it was in what was unexpected was that usually part of what causes is after surgery the surgeons leave in some drains so that accumulated fluid can come out of the body. And as those drains can irritate and cause hiccups. But as they come out one by one, you should have less, the irritation should go away and you should have less hiccups. In my case, it was the reverse. Each time one of the drains came out, I got more hiccups. I had 4 drains and they were taking out 2 than one. And each time I got worse and worse hiccups, which is the unexpected version. You'd expect the reverse. So I think whatever happens, you have to deal with it as it comes along in your situation. And for that, get back to the other point, is that you have to give constant feedback to your doctors and also your other caretakers, your nurses, and of course your family if they're involved.
So this has been an eye-opening conversation so far, Dr. Andrew, and it's time for us to add some excitement and some fun element to the episode. So if you are ready, I'll kick off the second rapid fire round. Shall we do it?
Of course.
All right, here comes the first bullet out of second rapid fire round. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
I think I'd go for a quote from George Eliot. It's something to the effect of, it's never too late to be what you might have been.
Wow, it's never too late to be what you might have been. Amazing. If you could invent a new medical procedure, what would it be called and what would it do?
It would be the arterial rejuvenator, and it would get rid of atherosclerosis throughout the entire body. That would eliminate strokes, heart attacks, claudication or problems with circulation in the legs.
I wish you good luck on that and hope you invent that very soon. You create that very soon. So, can you describe yourself in just one word?
One word, I think optimistic.
Okay. And what is the strangest reaction you have seen when someone have under anesthesia?
It's not so much under anesthesia that you get sort of funny things. It's when people emerge from anesthesia, because under anesthesia, you don't want anything strange happening. You want everything to be controlled so that the surgeons can work in a calm environment. But emerging from anesthesia, people are disinhibited. It's kind of like the way some people who are drunk might behave. And so I've seen some very dignified, ministers and professors act use language that would embarrass the average sailor and come on to the young nurses and do things that would otherwise be very embarrassing to them. You know, give me a kiss, honey, to the nurse as they come out of the anesthetic.
Okay, come see. Next one, what is the funniest blooper or mistake you have witnessed in the operating room?
You know, in the operating room, you wear scrubs, and scrubs don't have belts; they're just sort of tied. And occasionally they can get loose, and when they get loose, you'd tie them again. But if you're scrubbed, which means you can't touch anything that's not sterile, then the pants can gravity can take over. So occasionally you have the pants fall down, and the times that I've seen that, fortunately, the surgeons were wearing underwear. But there have been situations when they were not wearing underwear, and therefore let the world see.
That's funny. Okay, here comes the last bullet. And Dr. Andrew, what will be one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you like to see or invent yourself?
Gosh, a fantasy gadget. I'm so well. Okay, what comes to mind is a gadget that's probably already in the process, and that's one that would make my computer react faster, because it's waiting for a slow computer is the most aggravating thing.
Yeah, I can understand that. Wonderful. I loved all your responses for the second rapid fire round, and let's flip back to the mainstream. So, looking back on your journey from diagnosis to recovery, what message or piece of advice would you like to share with others who may be facing a major medical crisis?
Well, there are lots and lots of things. I kind of wrote a whole book about it, but the first thing is that try to overcome denial. If it can happen to anybody else, it can happen to you too.
Yeah.
And then once you do have an illness, you got to expect the unexpected. And also, if you're dealing, be grateful to your caretakers, particularly your family members. There's a syndrome called caretaker exhaustion, and don't be considerate of your spouse or your friends who are helping you recover. Don't ask for things that are unreasonable. So those are a few of the things that I talk about.
Yeah, real nuggets of wisdom. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I loved our conversation today. And how is your experience being hosted on TGV, the Guiding Voice podcast?
Wonderful. I'm happy to be here and happy to share what I have to share and interact with you and your audience.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking time. And I'm looking forward to hosting you again in future. I really appreciate you taking time.
Thank you much.
So it was such a pleasure talking to Dr. Andrew Kadar. And friends, before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request for you. In case if you haven't already subscribed to TGV, the Guiding Voice podcast, please subscribe to our podcast, because you will learn while having fun from speakers across the globe on diverse topics, and subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. And also, if you have enjoyed this conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. All right, now let's talk about the trivia segment. After having amazing conversation with Dr. Andrew Kadar, I thought I would present you few lesser known facts and origins about open heart surgery. So, all the developments of the cardiac surgery, indeed all of modern surgery, were made possible by the discovery of anesthesia. And the first successful public demonstration of general anesthesia took place in 1846 at the Massachusetts General Hospital in 1846, where our guest Dr. Andrew Kadar completed his residency 130 years later. And of course, there have been many more advances in anesthesiology to make complex surgeries such as cardiac surgery possible. And if you were to dig into the history of open heart surgery, like it involves accessing the heart through incisions in the chest, and it began in the early 20th century. And one of the pioneers was Dr. Ludwig Rehn, who performed the first successful open heart surgery in 1896 to repair a stab wound to the heart. And next is about the development of heart lung machine. And the key advancement enabling modern open heart surgery was the development of the heart lung machine by Dr. John Gibbon in the 1950s. This device temporarily takes over the functions of the hearts and lungs during the surgery, allowing surgeons to operate on a still heart. And third is about the first successful open heart surgery. It was successfully performed using the heart lung machine, and it was performed by Dr. Walton Lillehay in 1955. And he used the machine to repair a hole in a young child's heart, marking a significant milestone in cardiac surgery. Folks, that's it for today. And this is the first time we are covering a topic which is related to some medical illness. I would really love to seek your feedback in terms of what did you like most about the episode and what kind of topics within the health sector you want us to cover in future. And thank you so much for being part of our awesome TGV family. And also thank you for tuning in. And we would love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to share your ideas, feedback, topic recommendations, and most importantly, guest speaker suggestions either through our social media platforms, or you can also email us at theguidingvoice4you@gmail.com, for as in digit 4 and you as in letter U, and let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life but also your career. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Signing off for today.